guys. You might remember me. I haven't
Who
been
the
on
fuck are
here.
you?
I have not been on here in a while. I've been busy being in a play and a bunch of other crap, but I'm back and hopefully can can keep it that way for at least a little bit. But yeah, if you in case you don't remember who I am Garrett, the Indian drama expert.
I am Paul, the horror expert.
And we're doing a quick little review, just the two of us, on the new breakout indie horror threequel, Terrifier 3. Um, Now, keep in mind, during this review, I'm actually not the biggest fan of these Terrifier movies. I enjoy them for what they are. When I first watched the original one, I did not care for it at all, and I thought it was I did not really enjoy it when I first watched it. Um, but it grew a huge following, and that's how they ended up making Terrifier 2, which I think was better than the original. I still have problems with it. I don't think it needs to be almost 2.5 hours, but um, yeah, for what it is, I immensely enjoyed it more, and I really liked the new characters. I liked Lauren Lavera's final girl character, and Art, of course, Art the Clown is now one of like the most popular horror villains of recent memory, and has these films easily have some of the goriest death scenes I've ever
Yes.
seen. Um, and Terrifier 2 had a lot of scenes that I still remember pretty well, even though I've only seen the movie once. And that's where we get into Terrifier 3. The ult- Now this one's actually shorter than the second one, which did kind of surprise me a bit. This movie is I saw it with my former roommate, who he is a bigger horror fan than I am, but we've always bonded over that kind of thing. And we were not quite prepared for what we were about to see.
Hmm.
Yeah, I this one the franchise continues to get better for me as far as they go along, and as far as non-spoiler thoughts, I had a blast watching this movie, and I it might not be my type of horror that I always latch onto. This kind of like extreme gore fest is not usually something I enjoy that much, but they do it incredibly well, and I'm very curious to see where the fourth one goes.
Hmm. Yeah, the time, the duration is the number one thing that I heard complained about for the second one, and I'm glad that they made the third one shorter.
Hmm. I
Um,
still think you could have shaved off a bit of this movie.
yeah,
And I would say that the second one, for being as long as it was, I think the second one had a bit of a better pace to it than
yeah,
this one did. I feel like um, the thing that holds this movie back for me is it kind of just goes back and forth between Art the Clown doing something horrible,
hmm,
goes back to what's Lauren Lavera's character's name?
Sienna.
Sienna. It goes back to that plot, then it goes back to Art the Clown again. It kind of does that back and forth for
Hmm.
pretty much the majority of the runtime, and I would prefer it not to be done that way. I feel like it could have been done more smoothly, and maybe that's a script problem, but in terms of how the movie is edited and paced, I feel like it kind of to a point it kind of gets old seeing the same thing. But like the death scenes, the other two movies had, even though they all have the death scenes in these movies, all are pretty much great. The previous two had one scene in both of them that really stuck out. In the first one, it was the scene where the girl's getting split down the middle and is just I God. Then in the second one, for me, it was the girl getting just absolutely mangled in the bedroom.
Hmm.
that's what I remember most about that movie. This one is kind of hard for me because they're all.
There's multiple.
I mean, I can't even. I don't think I can pinpoint what is the most horrifying death in this one because they're all like that.
I feel like I would have to, if I had to pick one, to say this one.
Not to get into spoiler heavy, but
the shower.
The shower was that's one of the most memorable. Probably the one involving
the rats.
The rats. If I was to go with probably the one that I feel like is most horrifying, I would probably go with the one involving the Jason X homage, as I call it, involving one of the Santas in the film.
Mm-hmm. That was sad. You know, that's the thing.
It was kind of heartbreaking. Maybe it was because it's Santa.
The deaths in the Terrifier films are not sad. That one was.
A lot of for me watching, like I said, I'm not that much into like gory horror, that type of thing, but usually like when I watch them, like you're always kind of having fun watching all the like with Friday the 13th or something like that. You always kind of like, they're never too gross or painful to watch to the point where like you don't want to watch it. You always want to watch it when it comes to something like that. With Terrifier, it's like you're kind of almost scared to see what's going to happen next. And I really kind of appreciate that because it just really, the way it's done, the way it incorporates all the practical effects, and it's just there were several times in this movie where I was having trouble looking at the screen.
Mm-hmm. Did you get any pukers in your screening?
No. And no one walked out, which I've heard there was all those news stuff about people walking out.
That,
especially
for my screening,
the opening
that was a
scene.
thing.
Honestly,
I didn't find the opening scene to be that
scene's
bad.
actually not that shocking at
No,
all.
no.
I mean,
it was very
it's
annoying.
shocking, like with the stuff that happens in the opening, like, but most of it is not really shown.
Yeah.
Most of it's like implied, which
Matthew wanted to see the kid get killed so bad.
we're looking at him right now, in case you can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
But
how many people were in your opening thing? At least like 5 walked out.
Mine, there were 4 walkouts.
4?
Yes, 4 people walked out. It wasn't during the opening scene. It was like right after. And then there were 3 people that puked, and I'm not even joking. Like 3 people actually did puke.
Wow.
Passed out, right?
Yes, someone like right behind me passed out.
Well,
fucking weak.
people. I had like a very full theater when I saw this.
Same.
And yeah, I mean, people were reacting like, we're just going like, whoa, but
Yeah.
no one walked out. Everyone like stayed for the entire thing, and I don't think anyone like had that visceral of reaction, like puking. No, my screening was just so much fun.
Yeah.
Everyone was having fun. But
when they're talking about Art, and he's like right behind them, and Art is reacting, that was hilarious.
what? Yeah. Now I remember.
You're acting like you want to fuck him. No, I don't want to fuck him.
So yeah. So overall, to keep the non-spoiler part short, hopefully we didn't ruin anything for you with what we talked about so far. But yeah. Overall, thoroughly enjoyed the movie. It's not perfect, of course, but they really are coming into their own and giving people and the fans what they want for this series. And yeah, Art the Clown is gonna continue doing horrific shit.
You know that they're gonna amp it up in 4.
I cannot imagine how they're gonna top themselves with this.
I will just say real quick, Paul, I don't know if you'd remember to mention this, but the box office is actually better than it actually looks because people are buying
like
Wild
15.
Robot tickets
Yeah.
and sneaking in.
Yeah, I love that. I love how
if you're not gonna, I mean, if you're not going to support Terrifier, at least support financially a really good movie.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
there's
that's
people that couldn't get in
Mm-hmm.
Like
because a lot of theaters are restricting it to 18 and up.
Yeah, yeah.
as they should.
Yeah,
There was a fucking kid in my
I
screening
think
too.
there were a couple kids in my screening.
Why?
I did not hear much from them, but yeah, I do remember a few kids coming into my screening. I just
Yeah.
Take that what you will. I'm not telling you how to parent your kids, but
I will tell you,
Just
don't take your
be
fucking kids to
cautious.
see Terrifier 3.
I mean, I was shown a lot of disgusting, horrible crap when I was a lad, but I don't think anything to this level. Not as an 8-year-old, at least.
No.
I think the first like R-rated horror movie I saw in theaters was this is not really a good one to watch anyway. It's Mirrors, the Kiefer Sutherland one.
Yeah.
I watched that again recently. God, it did not hold up well at all. But yeah, just please look into it before you take your kids to it. That's all I'm saying.
First R-rated movie I saw in theaters was Predators.
Mm-hmm.
First
Right.
R-rated movie I ever saw was Alien.
That's not shocking.
But yeah, if I was to grade this, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I go see it if you're into this, if you're insane like we are. But what is?
Shall we get into spoilers?
Oh, do you want to grade it first?
I think I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. If I was going out of 10, I'd probably say 9 out of 10. Because this is, like, I didn't really get into gore until more recently. I was more of a Scream fan, Friday the 13th, shit like that. So I only recently got into gore. So it's up my alley, but not as up my alley as others. But I enjoyed it. I feel like, art is so iconic. And
David Howard Thornton is like...
he's amazing. There is no one else... I know that we haven't had, or I know we have had another art. He's not the original.
Yeah. And I still haven't watched that other movie either.
No, I haven't either. But to be honest, I cannot fathom having anyone else's Art the Clown. I know eventually, it's going to happen.
It's like watching a Hellraiser movie that doesn't have what's his name as Pinhead. We have had a couple of those. The reboot I really enjoyed, just to keep that in mind. I'm talking like continuing the main Pinhead, not like the reboot, which obviously is something different. But
I still haven't seen that.
A lot of people didn't care for the Hellraiser reboot. I really enjoyed it. I think it's worth a watch. Way better than, it's at least top 3 of the Hellraiser movies, and that's not a high bar. But yeah, going into spoilers.
Spoiler warning: this is your chance to leave now.
The opening scene. So it involves Art the Clown. Honestly, the opening scene of the movie, for me anyway, didn't really connect much to the rest of the movie. Like, not as much as I would have liked. Of course, it has Art the Clown dressed up as Santa, with a sack, and killing an almost entire family, but leaving the girl that he finds. Then we go back to him after the events of Terrifier 2, where Art was pretty much dissected. And what's her name? The crazy face chick. What's her name again?
Vicky.
So
giving birth to his head.
Yeah.
What
which
the
I
fuck was that?
I can't believe I forgot about until I saw this movie. I forgot that happened in Terrifier 2.
I can cut this out, so I'll just tell you guys real quick. So give a pause after I'm talking. Freaking Speed Demon's almost here. He's about an hour away now. So somehow he got from Michigan in 2.5 hours.
Interesting.
So yeah, I just leave a pause and then go back to it.
Yeah, so yeah, Vicky and Art the Clown reunite again. Um,
They worked really well
oh
together.
God, I love those two. I
They
love
were
them.
amazing in
Um,
this.
just the scene where Art the Clown just goes to a chair and just like
Sits.
sits in front of the window and almost like hibernates
Yeah.
for a bit until was a cop that enters into the warehouse that they're in.
I think they were like there to clean it out.
Yeah. Um, stupidly wakes him up.
Yeah.
And of course, how, how it's been a couple weeks since I've seen this movie. How does how do those guys die again? I forget.
So John Abrahams
Hmm.
is the one that woke up Art.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, seeing John Abrahams in a movie again is fucking amazing.
Who is he again?
He was in Scary Movie 1. Billy Loomis knockoff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember him now.
So he got split open in the head.
Yeah, that's right.
That
that's
was
right.
amazing.
Mhm.
That, oh man.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love that they're not holding back. And I love that they didn't
These
go
movies
through a
have never
studio.
held back.
They're getting more unhinged too, which
Yeah.
I love.
Mhm.
But that's how he died. To be honest, I can't remember how the other one died exactly.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But yeah, then we pick up with Sienna coming from. I mean, Sienna in this movie, I feel so bad for her because she's probably endured more like violence and traumatization than I've seen
Yeah.
from any other horror lead or final girl
Mm-hmm.
ever. Like, Sydney Prescott feels like a well put together human being by the end by like Scream 5
Mm-hmm.
than this girl does in the third. Well, this is her second movie. I mean, she she really does play a great job of really feeling like she's trying to so hard to keep herself together, but like with all the with all the crap that she's seen, um she just can't help herself.
Mm-hmm.
And Lauren Lavera plays that so well.
She's an amazing actress.
And these are the only movies I've seen her in. I haven't seen her in anything else.
She's in a short film Matthew and I watched. What was it called?
Miss Barton's Delicious
Never heard of
Cake.
that.
It's a noir.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's really good.
okay.
But
But yeah.
Check it out.
And I also really like the brother to Jonathan, who
I remember when
I
he interviewed
really-
metal bands.
yeah, I really appreciate this movie for actually casting someone that actually looks like like realistically look like they're a freshman in college and not
Mhm.
casting like a 30-year-old, because most college I can attest to this. Jonathan looks exactly like how a lot of my friends in freshman year of college looked, and not like Andrew Garfield like in high school, Amazing Spider-Man 1 kind of thing, where it's obvious it's like a 30-year-old playing like an 18-year-old. But I really appreciate that, and he got his performance got better in this
Yeah.
one too.
He did really
Um,
good.
But yeah, I really like the family in this one. I tried not to, just because I knew what was probably gonna happen. But I like the family dynamic that they set up. And then we get, like I said, it kind of goes back and forth from Art to her perspective, pretty much intertwined or interminably. And so we get a scene with her, then we get another death scene, sequentially getting more death scenes with Art. Probably
Him
one of my
fangirling over Santa is
that
one of my
was-
favorite
that
scenes.
was easily my favorite like scene in general of this movie was him. When
he just
when he
barrels
walks by the
past the two
when
girls.
he walks by the window and he's dressed up as Santa, and then he just peeks through the window, just like does that thing when he sees an actual Santa's. I had no idea that Clint Howard was in this as one of the
Mhm.
Santas. Enjoyed the hell seeing him in this movie. I'm not sure who played the other Santa who gets it really bad.
Daniel
Um,
Roebuck.
Oh, it's Daniel Roebuck.
Um,
Okay.
The short film that we mentioned was Miss Barton's Famous Cakes.
Mhm.
Uh,
I think you said that right.
No, I said Delicious Cakes.
Delicious.
Mm.
Miss Barton's
Yeah, it's
Cakes.
Miss Barton's Famous Cakes. We
Okay.
actually did our indie film spotlight on that, so go check that out.
Okay. I'll check that out. But yeah. So the ones who get shot in the scene are the lucky ones because Daniel Roebuck easily gets it the worst. Serves you right for being in that awful Monsters movie. Just kidding.
Don't shit on monsters.
I'm not gonna shit on the actual Monsters. I'm gonna shit on that movie. Fuck that movie to hell. For wasting my goddamn time. And no offense to Daniel Roebuck. I'm mainly kidding, but still, as a joke. But yeah, this scene involves him getting what's that? Liquid nitrogen,
Yep.
as they call it, like getting like his like his hands frozen, his face frozen. It's a really nice homage to Jason X, which I really appreciated.
Art was like ice to meet you.
Thanks for that.
I saw water.
But yeah, then do you remember what death scene comes after that? It's not the shower scene, is it?
I don't think so. I think there's another.
This scene makes Psycho look like a Care Bears movie.
Yes, it does.
Because it's not just one person; it's two, and both of them get, instead of a knife, it's a chainsaw, and a chainsaw up the ass in this,
And
and
front
and the full Monty too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that scene. It's literal bloodbath. Just unimaginably
doing a
gory.
blood angel.
Yeah,
A blood
yeah,
snow
the
angel.
blood angel. I forgot about that.
That's iconic.
Yes, that is. But yeah, then we get introduced in one of the other scenes. This podcast chick who meets Jonathan through his roommate because she's girlfriend to his roommate. Those are the two that get killed in the shower scene. And I hated this chick, and she was purposefully hateful, because she does like this killer podcast where she talks about all these horrific killings, and wants desperately to find more information about Art the Clown. She eventually gets a little bit, and then Art the Clown interferes, and you know where it goes from there. But yeah, then Art the Clown, through Jonathan, eventually finds the family where Sienna is, and this is where most of the climax takes place, where everyone's tied down to chairs and just. Oh my God!
I do not think that was Jonathan's skull.
I don't think so either.
I think that he's still
Jonathan's
alive.
I think so too.
I
feel like
he's a big enough character. They would have shown his death.
yeah.
I think it was the girl in the opening. I think that was her skull.
Yes, but I didn't even put those together. I feel like that's exactly where they want us to, where they want to mislead us.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing, just to tie the opening scene a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
The toys that Art gives out whenever he's in the Mall of Santa, those were the toys that were
Oh
under
my
the
God!
tree.
I can't believe I forgot to talk about the Santa scene.
He really blew that away, didn't
my
he?
God! And it's not that I was not expecting him to use like a bomb. Like,
Does this make him a terrorist? Like in
he
realism?
is. Art the Clown is not just a brutal, sadistic like butcher. He's a freaking domestic terrorist.
He is.
Like literally blowing up like a whole Santa Mall setup out there.
Don't get any ideas, Matthew.
Yeah, and most of the scenes in this movie involve Art like just. I mean, most of the scenes in the series are just Art messing with people until he gets like them like gets them super pissed off, and then he
Mhm.
just rebels against them in the most horrifying way. And he just really pisses off this one mall Santa, and to the point where he gives a literal fucking bomb and blows everyone up. Just, yeah, that scene was great too. Both those two scenes involving are my favorite.
Yeah.
Easily. The climax is horrifying, as you would expect. Just
That's
and
the one that actually almost made Art throw up while filming.
oh
It's
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
whenever they're putting the tube down her throat and then they
Yeah.
put the rats in, it's
Oh
not
God,
that.
yeah.
It's not
Oh,
that. It's the
fuck.
fact that they had fake vomit coming out of her mouth. That is what got him.
Mhm.
Of all the things, Mr. David Howard Thornton, of all the things that could make you sick as Art the Clown, it's going to be vomit. Of all the things that you do.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah. So so Sienna gets fucked up in this
Yeah.
ending. I mean, more than she did in the last one. She got really badly screwed over in the last one too. But she manages to fight Art the Clown off. Unfortunately, her sister gets taken to fucking hell. So I guess the next one is just gonna be her battling other Art the Clown like demons through hell. I feel like Art the Clown's gonna be not even gonna be the main threat of the next one. I feel like I can imagine so.
So, I think, well, initially they were saying that there was only going to be one more.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from what I've heard at least, and this could be wrong, just take it with a pinch of salt,
Mm-hmm.
they're talking about splitting it. So it's 4 and
Oh.
5.
Just be careful with doing that, please.
And here's the thing, too. Like, that is what they've been doing. They have made a 2-movie arc into 4 movies as it is.
Mhm.
That's why the pacing feels so off in these movies, is because they're stretching it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's working well for them because each movie
It is.
has drastically grown.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the 4th movie, obviously the story is going to be her going to rescue her sister or whoever
Yeah.
that was. For some reason, I feel like it was her cousin
You think so?
or niece or something.
Maybe.
To be honest, I can't remember. I saw the day it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it since. I need to
been a bit.
rewatch it. But that's obviously going to be the story. Is her going to hell, and Art is obviously going to be in it. But I'm very curious as to what we are going to see in it.
I feel like they're gonna pull some Halloween Ends stuff on this, like where they make us think that he's gonna be like still the focus, but I feel like they're gonna pull it away.
Are we going to see
something
Corey
else.
fucking Cunningham again? Oh God.
No,
I actually like Corey.
Hopefully, they're smart enough to go around.
I feel
it
like
to
the
where
main
it's
is going to
not-
be Victoria or Vicky.
Yeah, well that would be fine because she's been in like these movies already,
Mhm.
so like it wouldn't be. I'd be fine if it was Vicky.
Mhm.
I
think
wouldn't
it'll
be
be
mad.
Vicky.
I wouldn't be mad if they move away more from Art to focus more on her. Because
They might even bring back the little pale girl. Well, I don't know because the little pale girl is the one that possessed Vicky, I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it might actually be the little pale girl. I personally would like to see her still in Vicky's form.
Mhm.
I felt like she was more terrifying that way.
Yeah.
But then Art, I think Art will be mainly in the second and third act.
Yeah.
I think that final battle is going to be huge. It has to be. That's how they're building it.
In terms of the franchise growing, the first one had a budget of $35,000.
Mm-hmm.
Second one was $250,000, and then the
This
last
one
one
was $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's
Keep
amazing.
Keep it low though. Don't go too overboard with it.
well, the studio was going to pay for it, and he refused because they told him to cut out the gore.
Yeah. Don't
So
do
he'll
that.
keep it low.
What studio was that though?
I believe I am probably wrong. I believe it was Universal and Lionsgate that were offering.
Yeah, there's a reason why something like this would never get picked up by a mainstream studio.
Mhm.
I mean, unless if this was in like the 80s, but even then, this is a lot for a mainstream type of movie. So, yeah.
I think there are really two takeaways from Terrifier 3. Number one, it is very possible to have a successful independent movie.
Mhm.
Number two, you don't need a studio.
Nope.
And that is what Terrifier 3 is demonstrating.
Halloween proved that back in '78.
It
Yeah.
did. This is essentially the new Halloween in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
this is this generation's Halloween. Significantly more fucked up, but
Well, if I remember correctly, New Line, I think New Line distributed the original Evil Dead, but their logo's not even on that movie. And New Line didn't really even become a thing until Nightmare 1, and that's because at that time they were still pretty much an indie studio. It can be. I feel like this could be like this is gonna be a new Nightmare type of thing, or Halloween.
Or it starts its own studio, essentially.
Yeah, like the house that Art built.
Halloween is like a kids movie compared to these, though.
Yeah, yeah.
From what I hear. Like,
Well, back then in the 70s, people were were appalled by the original Halloween because they thought that was like too violent back then.
I wonder what their reaction would be to Terrifier.
Yeah. It'd probably be. I mean, when the Exorcist came out, like people were fainting and running out of the theater. Oh God! Imagine how they would react to seeing this.
I've always said, like, you know, the people that were terrified of The Exorcist, how would they react to The Conjuring?
that's what I was going to say. The Exorcist crowd sing The Conjuring and the Halloween crowd sing Terrifier.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but that's all I got for Terrifier 3. Yeah. Aside from those pacing issues I had, some of the acting is hit or miss in this.
The main cast was
from the
good.
main players, they're all pretty much great. But yeah, the acting, what really, I could not get into the acting in the original film, and that's probably because it was still like just from lack of experience, because that was one of their first like movies, and I feel like that's very common with feature debuts. Just like when you really have to gain like experience with actors, like you can only really do that if you do a ton of projects before. But yeah, they have vastly improved the acting throughout each, and I feel like that's most important, even when it comes to a movie like this. So yeah, that's all I got for this.
Yeah, I the only thing else that I can think of to say is I'm grateful that we have a new independent horror hit.
Well, this year we've had several.
We have.
It's
It's unbelievable.
I mean, look at Neon, man. Fuck. Neon is going to become the new Line.
I have some
in
news.
my eyes. But yeah. Terrifier 3. I wish I could imitate a clown horn sound. So go see it.
Oh my God.
That was horrible.
I know.
We're just gonna end this.
Yes.
Hope you guys enjoyed our thoughts on Terrifier 3. So stay tuned for more.
What the fuck was that?
We have been the Cinema Asylum Podcast. You guys were awesome. Thanks for coming out. Good night.